Test 1, 2. Testing 1, 2. Oh, there are people in the chat. Hello all. How are levels on music and audio? Can't hear music. Ooh, okay, maybe that's just me. How about now on the music? Cool. Perfect. Is there an echo? And no echo now. Good now? No music, or music and voice? Word. Cool. Well, it looks like we are good to go. So I think I'm just going to be doing a little bit of sketching and whatnot in this live stream. I'll probably open up some requests a little bit later on once I do a few different stickers and whatnot. But until then, if you guys have any suggested, I guess, conversation topics or whatnot, I can handle those. Feel free to send them in the comment section. I can't say, the last time I did a stream was quite a bit ago, so it'd be nice to get another one under the belt as they're nicer, longer form. And I actually am probably mostly going to be doing some sticker sketches on this just because I want to make up some new packs. So I haven't made sticker trades or whatnot for quite some time. So right now I'm actually living out of DC. As many of you guys know, I lived in Philly for quite a while, and I'm currently on a 6-month internship down in Washington, D.C. So a little change of place, haven't gotten to too much of the local scene here. Haven't had a chance to really dive into it, but I've actually heard some pretty good things. I know a handful of names that are in the area as far as stickers go, but the graph scene as well, I'm sure, is wholeheartedly healthy, as even the metro line out here. They're just going into the city the couple times that I have. It is pretty thoroughly handled as far as full-on graph goes, which is a nice sign. Obviously, downtown isn't quite as popular, as foot traffic is not far and few between, but very frequent. So I can see that spots downtown are a little bit harder to come by. Scene looked definitely healthy though from the first kind of couple weeks I've been here, so that is always a good sign, and hopefully throughout the summer I'll be able to maybe pop in on some different things if there are any shows or whatnot. I wish YouTube had a feature that could read all the comments into my ear. Well, I guess that would be quite the double-edged sword, but it'd be nice to have them strung to my ear so it almost lead me into conversation, so I don't have to stop and read every once in a while. But I'm definitely going to upload the stream, so if you can't stay around for the whole time, I'll be either editing down. I've seen some people that do streams more often, they do kind of a stream recap and kind of hit the highlights and whatnot. I think that almost fits better for speed arts, but then again, that just moves it to be a traditional speed art and loses kind of the long form nature to it. So I could also see myself just uploading the raw hour-long or 2-hour-long sketch session and into its own form on YouTube, as I've done in the past. So regardless, there will be a stream recap of sorts, or the full thing still uploaded afterwards, given that I finished this and it's timely as well. And yes, I am definitely interested in some legal walls around this area. I'm sure there's got to be at least some more, as Philly doesn't have too many, but I know that the weather is definitely getting much better, even though we've had a shitload of rain these past couple weeks. The weather's getting a lot better, so I'm definitely eager to get to painting some more. I think I'm just going to be doing a dark blue outline on this, and then I do have paint markers next to me as well, so I'll probably do some details and hookups and whatnot with some paint markers over the cheap Crayolas. I don't know if I'll do all Crayolas this week. I've been getting into using some of my old alcohol markers for some stickers as well, just because they have color left in them, but I replaced a few of them recently, and it adds just a little bit more variety into my normal cheap color set, because I felt a little limited with, I probably have half a pack of Crayolas left now, and could definitely go for a little more color variety than that limited palette at times. Not to mention that they're all extra dark, seeing as the light blue is this really kind of medium to dark blue, but it works out. Add micron. I actually don't have any microns on me. I haven't had any in the longest time. I've been reluctantly just using the thin Sharpie pens for all my outlines and whatnot, and more or less it's been working out just fine. I haven't been doing too much piecing lately. I actually designed a new t-shirt that I'm hopefully printing early next week. I have everything prepped up, but I screwed up transporting silk screens to my current residence and didn't have a chance to redo them just yet, so I'll be hopefully getting to that early next week, prepping the screens probably tomorrow, so that'll be a cool one. Their t-shirt's definitely a pretty cool design. I actually posted a bunch of teasers on Instagram a while back, so if you caught those on one of my is it even an Instagram story? I forget. I don't even know what they're called. I assume it's just an Instagram story, much like Snapchat, but I posted on there, and people seem to like them. So I'm eager to get that shirt done, as I've had the shirts for a month or 2 months now almost, and just haven't had a chance to finish the design and then finish prepping everything with moving. So, but all in all, things are going well. I've had a bunch more downtime recently to sketch in my free time, and hopefully you've noticed I've been a little bit more active on YouTube. Been able to post more frequently, so that has been nice as well to get you guys some more content. I've got a bunch of reviews I still need to film, as well as those reviews for Spray Planet that I've finished and just have to record the audio for and edit down. So I have plenty of content. It's more of convincing myself to sit down for 3, 4, 5 hours, depending on type of video, and get it all formalized, just because the back end on those is definitely slow. That's my one critique of YouTube. I would love it 10 times more if I didn't have to edit as much. I do like video editing, but it tends to get quite repetitive, and with review style stuff, it's not like I can put on music or do something, half-brained. You gotta really edit the audio down all entirely, and then edit all the video down, and you can't really have too many distractions. So it's a little slower moving thanks to that. I wonder how the graffiti scene is out in Vegas. I've seen quite a few, I guess, pieces online that reference the area, but I can't say that I've crossed paths with too many writers from the area, although you guys have plenty of sun, so I feel like the weather must work in your favor to get out. But I can't imagine there's much to paint on down in the Strip. Nor do I genuinely know what the kind of suburban areas of Vegas look like, and whether or not there's much, or is it simply just the oasis of all the casinos. Yeah, I wanted to do the straight letter just because I hadn't done one in a while. Definitely like the I, and then had higher hopes for the E. Let's see if we can change it up a little to help salvage it. The V's not very great, and the S is pretty simple, but I think we'll make it work for the first warm-up piece. Any recommendations for the letter G? Letter G, I feel like people overcomplicate. Granted, I've drawn it only less than 100 times in a piece setting, but it's one of those that it's got a very rounded body, so much like any edge to an S or the letter B or anything, the curve you can play in, like even with this kind of question mark here, just having a simple edge to it, and then having a break off or a hook up on the edge helps to make that round a little bit more edgy, as most often than not that's the style that people are going for or have more trouble with, because a lowercase g and whatnot is actually a pretty fun letter to do, because it curves in on itself, and then it also has a nice eyeball at the top. So as far as working off an N though might be a little tough, just because you're gonna have the contours working against each other. So if you have a N and then you want a G going into that, you're gonna have to round it. I'd say if you follow that and keep it in line with the backside, and maybe even tilt your K out like this, you could have a little unique way to work in a K and an N and a G. Those are some pretty heavy weighted letters altogether, so maybe mixing in some other less weighted letters would help your name stand on a page a little bit better, just because those are all very square letters, and they're going to take up a lot of your page. But that style could very well be a strong suit, as I've seen it plenty of times before. So totally up to your style and your artistic choices there. Speaking of graffiti in art class, I was hanging out with my cousin last weekend, and mind you, this kid's like 10, and he knows that I like to draw and whatnot. And he said in his art class, the teacher was having them write graffiti, which I thought was extremely interesting. Granted, he's in 3rd or 4th grade, so it could have more or less been spun off as graffiti, and they were just teaching him how to draw bubble letters and whatnot. But he came to me with that. I thought that was pretty crazy that it's making its way into schools, because I can see that though is kind of a cheap art project at the end of the day, and you can use whatever leftover art supplies these teachers have, so it works out pretty well. And maybe it would be a way to get some people that normally wouldn't be as involved in an art class, much like myself, would be a little bit more inclined to participate. Anybody else had experience with teachers trying to school teachers trying to show you how to do graffiti? Because I could feel like that might be a hard one as well for administration to jump along with, seeing as if you then get a bunch of kids that are trying to tag and whatnot, they're going to start taking over your school more than ever. I like the sound of teachers getting more involved. I've heard my high school art experience was pretty good. We were required to take art for 2 years, I think, or take 2 classes in it, more or less. But I ended up taking 1 each year, and it was pretty easy to fit it into like scheduling and whatnot. But you're always hearing online that they're cutting all these art programs, and I think some of your art could also have been music and stuff. I've never been musically inclined, so I steered away from those. But I definitely enjoyed it, and it was a hell of a break from regular school, if anything. And I know even my senior year we had art class to start the day, which was rather interesting because everybody would drag their feet, so I don't know that I was the most productive because of that, but it was definitely a fun inclusion to have at least some art class throughout the day. We took some random stuff. My freshman year art class was a 3D, I think it was just called 3D art, so you did a variety of pottery or kind of sculpture style stuff out of like paper mache. One of the fun ones was you made animals out of paper plates, and then use hot glue or whatever to stick them all together. That was an interesting one. I think I made like a snake. And that class, though, seeing as it was like required, you had a bunch of people just screwing off, and made for probably more of a babysitting realm for the art teacher than anything else, but it was good. I'm not sure it helped me progress much with my art interests. Definitely kept my palette wet for creativity nonetheless. How come I only do slaps? I'm doing stickers today just because I want to make some new sticker packs for trades or for sale. I like stickers a lot, mainly because you can really get 2 for 1 out of them. You can either put them up, you can trade them, or you can practice on them. I've never really found as kind of contradictory it is, as most stickers end up in black books, I never found like the small form practicing of little midway styles like this really valuable to put in a black book, just because, you know, it sits in the black book and you get your practice and then it's done. Whereas, you know, on many levels I could either sell these or I could trade them away and get somebody else's art in exchange for it. So I've always kind of done most of my sketching with stickers on hand. It does get a little annoying as I've got the backgrounds on 90% of my drawings, but I like to switch it up as well. I wish I had some all-white stickers. I prefer to do all-white stickers on streams just because they look a little bit better. But I didn't end up bringing any with me for last time I packed some stuff up, so I'll definitely be sure to include some of those in my next trip back to Philly, so I can make the streams a little bit more interesting. Any suggestions on another color to add in here? Thinking I got white, silver might help a little bit, but it might just blow out the dark blue. Yellow could work as well. I think I might. That looks a little funny with the extra dark. A yellow splash. I do like the sound of that. I have never gotten in trouble for using stickers. I like to pay my dues at the post office. Maybe a little good karma comes my way. But I use these all for shipping, of course, so no harm or foul done with these supplies I order from USPS. Would I ever bomb a police station? No, I think that pretty self-explanatory that police station might be asking for a little bit too much. Although in this culture of graffiti, I could definitely see a police station trying to, you know, invigorate the youth by having some people paint a station or something. Do a big mural, in which case you might get around that technicality. And that would make for some hell of a clickbait online. Yellow subtle, you can't quite see it so well on the camera. I think I'm going to do another dark blue outline around this to make the yellow pop, and hopefully make the darker blue a little bit as well. I just got a question for how I came up with my name. I know many of you have heard this before, and I think my 500th video I covered kind of the trajectory of my few names before SIVE and then how I ended up at SIVE. But a short synopsis is I liked the letters that kind of came together. They fit well with one another, not to mention nobody at the time had been using it. Clearly it's been a bunch of years now, so people have come and gone and used it as well, so there's that. But it was unique, and I liked how each of the letters fit into one another. And at the time I didn't think I was challenging myself, especially, you know, coming with the V. That's probably my most challenging letter to work in with the entire piece. And then I found that was a challenging enough name to keep me interested. Not to mention it rightfully so has a lot of symmetry between it. There's a lot of ways I can make an E look like the mirror version of my S, and then with the center of the I and the B, there's a fair amount of repeating vertical lines in there that I can use to my advantage. So my personal appreciation for somewhat of a symmetric piece seemed to hold true over time, which definitely kept me on the name. I'm sure many of you guys consider changing your names at times, and I have as well, but I've kind of now rutted myself into having the YouTube name and whatnot, so I've kept it around and definitely experiment with other letters in my free time, but more or less have kind of just stuck with it. And there's enough ways to change the I up between capital letters or lowercase to make it even a little bit more unique when I do get bland. And I think that's a strong suit too, just not letting yourself get writer's block or getting frustrated with a name, knowing when to kind of just relax on it for a little bit and try something new, or change up the structure, or how you're writing your name. Because I know I've recently been playing with a lot of more lowercase e's, just because it's a change of pace that I haven't necessarily been practicing the strongest with over the entire time I've been writing my name. And I guess my suggestion, if you want to start and you don't have a name like Matt, just pick some random letters, work with them, see what you like with them. I wrote the word side, S-I-D-E, for a while, and that's kind of where I grew my appreciation for most of my letters, as you can see. But that was in the midst of 5 or 10 other names, so I was jumping around and finding what I liked about certain letters and what where others were more inclined to support my style or to support just easier to get into, because plenty of people have an S and an E in their name, so it's definitely one of the more popular combinations, and definitely was an influence to leading me to choose it in mine, just because you see everybody else do something cool and jump on that bandwagon more or less. So hindsight, just pick something that you like. There's so much graffiti content online now that you can literally pick any letter and probably copy 1,000 times over people on the internet and still learn from each time. So definitely not promoting it, but there's so many resources out now that once you do find a letter, you can learn instantaneously 100 different ways of how to draw it and then learn from each of those. And definitely an interesting palette of graffiti letters that are available now, than even differently from when I started. Not that there was much of a lack, but it's just compounded so drastically with Instagram and whatnot. I'm going to be doing a bunch of sketches, so hopefully we get to work through some. Pretty much finished with this. I'll hit the tag and then move on to another one. Maybe I'll do some tags to switch it up a little bit, get some variety in here. So let's see. I got a new webcam as well, so hopefully this quality is a little bit better. I'm just using the stock microphone on this, but let me know how it sounds. I've considered getting a new microphone, and I actually have one that I use for videos, but it doesn't work on my computer for some reason. When I plug it in, it doesn't recognize it as a source, which kind of sucks because it works pretty well in videos. It's just a little bit clearer than most. That was pretty shitty. I really don't like how this eye worked in there. Not much I can do. Save it. New color. Let's show some, give the brown some love. Oh Jesus, this is a little dried out. Let's see if we can get 2 tags out of this before tossing it out. It's one of the things I've found more often than not changes your tag is how much friction's on that surface. I think I can get one more out of this. I'm pressing down so hard. I'm gonna have to accent that one. I was thinking about making a video of seeing how long I could actually get a marker to go for. Doing just a flat out distance test on a Crayola or a Sharpie. But my only thought was, given the results or whatever, you know, it doesn't really mean much to, unless I do it for 25 different brands and see which ones are actually giving you more ink to work with. I guess I could price out ink per mile marker. Not that we'd get anywhere close to a mile worth of ink in there, but hell. Cool. Not too bad. I'll throw up now. Everybody on my last throw up video was just saying all my V's look like L's. And if I don't do anything kind of up at the top or on the right side to help suggest that there's, you know, an edge to the V, they just consistently just look so close to an L. I hope all of you saw the liquid chrome video, because man, those are some awesome mops to work with. They just kept dripping and pretty much covered flawlessly on everything but that sheet metal. So I honestly haven't had another project to get working with them on, but definitely suggest those ones again. Anybody would like to hit up the request? I'll do one free name request right now. If anybody can jump in on the comments first. There we are. We got the first one in. Sorry to whoever was slow on the keyboard. I suppose I'll pick a better color than brown. Maybe a strawberry lemonade combo. I might need a third in here. Any mop suggestions? I honestly haven't been keeping up with the mops so frequently. Really, any refillable one. All the brands I've found recently are so close that it's more or less just a preference on how much you want it to drip. But I unfortunately can't speak on what's the best against the buff at this point. There's just so much that I feel like I haven't been able to keep up on. What are the better mops in the paint and ink game? There's just you clearly got your Montanas and top tiers and whatnot, but I'm sure there's plenty of smaller brands that are making great stuff. I know Illidel out of Philly has a crazy homebrew that's definitely drippy and covers crazy well. I actually have inks are a little harder. I haven't seen, now that I think about it, not too many but people hyping up homemade inks online recently. Definitely turned out to be a little on the orange side, but it'll do. If you guys have any suggestions on how to maybe improve the stream quality, feel free to let me know. I got the new webcam since I don't think I used it in the last stream. I think it's new since of it. It's quite a bit different than, you know, a vlogger or whatnot. So it's definitely a harder area to get as much time dedicated into it. So I like to think that, you know, an increase in ease of content and, you know, people being able to film way more with cell phones and whatnot and edit them down quickly and efficiently is just going to help grow the, you know, the YouTube scene for artists and graffiti in general. Because I definitely appreciate a healthy community with, you know, a lot of people posting and a lot of people doing cool stuff. I think it helps push everybody to make better content themselves, and as well as you know, show off their best of their best rather than whatever they kind of slop together just because it's fast and flashy. I think it's better suited for a whole community to have, you know, a lot of players forcing everybody to make some cool content and stretch what the scene can have. But who knows where graffiti and YouTube will go in the future, or whether or not YouTube's going to be the homepage to everything, seeing as everybody seems to just constantly be complaining about it on the creator side. What do I think of the Green Ranger? I think the Green Ranger is a very great video producer. He's got quite a bit of humor mixed into his videos as well, which definitely keeps them pretty entertaining. And needless to say, he has his OG knowledge that many of us cannot compete with. He seems to be a long-time graffiti guy, not to mention being in the scene far before the internet got its grasps on it. So definitely has many new, probably new to me, new to you guys, but many interesting techniques as far as using a spray can and whatnot that, you know, you only do get after having years and years of experience and working alongside big names or whatnot, or an active scene. I feel like the Pacific Northwest has a pretty active scene based on, let alone what I see on the internet. If that's all that makes it up there, it's still got plenty to go around. These reds are kind of dying out, but I'm fearful that if I switch to this Molotov, it's going to be in a completely different shade. So, since that is the case, it's simply going to be a drop shadow. And I know I kind of mentioned this in my my recent tag and piece tutorial. You know, giving yourself kind of a handicap while you're drawing, or forcing yourself to, you know, use things, whether you're randomly picking colors blindly from a pile, or just like this that now I have to find a way to use. I guess it's not really showing up that well, but find a way to use that darker red alongside this lighter red now that the lighter red's running out. You know, those force you to get more creative with your resources and open up a lot of opportunities to, you know, mix together two things you might not have originally ever considered just because you're forced to do it. So I challenge all you guys to, next time you're drawing, maybe pick two random colors or draw a scribble on a piece of paper and try to work that into a piece in an effortless way, or some way that doesn't totally suck. I know it helps me at least challenge myself. I'd say maybe 20% of the time I come out with something good. That might even be a little bit high. But when you do come out with something unique, definitely rewarding and changes the interest level of working on that piece or that throw up. I think I'm going to need some darker tones in there as well to help bring up that contrast off the orange. Shall I go for dark outline on the very outside? Try to add some dark accents in the middle. I think dark accents in the middle might be good. Suggestions on shadows within throwaways. So I mean, there's so many different ways to use shadows. My biggest suggestion is always learn Vanishing Point first. It's really straightforward as far as the skill goes, and it works for pretty much everything, even outside of graffiti. So Vanishing Point's a really easy one to get started with. I have some old tutorials on it, but if you're looking for something online, there's also going to be plenty of content for you to find just with searching that. As far as like a drop shadow goes, but there's also going to be tutorials about, I don't know that I've done a clear one, or kind of think I have in the past, but seeing as that's my rationale, it's got to be probably pretty old and more or less poorly put together, but good information nonetheless. So I always suggest searching around for different techniques like that. I use the drop shadow here. It's simply you just offsetting where that line is. So I move this point down a quarter of an inch and over a quarter of an inch, and then redrew every connecting line off of that. As far as a vanishing point goes, you have your point in 3D space, and you just draw everything as a straight line to that, or you have a couple of them and you draw it to a few different points. More or less, you've got those two as your base bone, and then seemingly most other 3Ds or shadows are built off of those concepts or combinations of the two. So I'd suggest looking in that respect if you're wanting to learn a little bit more about 3D, as it is a simple tool that if you get it 50% right, it looks great. Much below, understanding it by 50%, you're going to be it's going to be looking a little weird. But once you do have that kind of understanding down, it's a really nice tool to have and helps your work out quite a bit. Right now I'm just going to add some interior shadows to accent where these letters overlap or where their darker edges might be. I think I am always a little ambitious with the color selection on. This looks a little rough on the camera. Doesn't help that I'm using yellow light, more or less. Could probably help myself out a little bit if it wasn't so drastic. Maybe another diffuser would help out the stickers as well. Cool. Go for another one color throwaway. Let's rock purple this time. Need more room, as always. That's one thing I just never take the time to set up how much space I'm going to need. I always just draw my S over half the sticker and then seemingly don't have enough room on the back end. Let's do a lowercase e. I always also think something that's overlooked is re-outlining your sketch or your piece. It helps unify your letter and line thickness. I find that my first pass, depending on where I am in the letter or which letter I'm on, I can change up my line thickness quite a bit. So going back over a throwy, in this case, and trying to more deliberately give a line weight, I find in my first pass I might not necessarily, I might be going into the letter not knowing exactly how I want it to draw it, and kind of just getting an idea as I get that first round in. So here, when I don't have another color to fill it in and work on that with a second pass, it's nice to go back over that outline and make some areas thicker, kind of cut into some areas. Like here down at the bottom of the V, it's a nice rounded point, but I could extend those down and get it pretty skinny and bring it down quite a bit further to suggest it's not an L once again, and then darken up these lines to bring those up. The V is pretty uniform as far as that line thickness goes, but I like to get that bottom piece and maybe the kink over here a little bit sharper. And now we've got a nice dark purple on there as well. Works out a little bit better. Yo, SIVE, can we get a custom graffiti themed insert everyday item / gear video? Like, I think you're going along the lines like customize an inanimate object. I believe the only problem with videos like that I see people rush into is a simple spray paint pass on top of something doesn't really quite make it graffiti themed. And I try to, whenever I make a video, I want to be adding value to something in my artistic way. So if I am going to be customizing something, I want to make sure that it's it's going to be better suited as having graffiti on it, more or less. So say that painting I did where I was coloring over top of that old city painting, that's been done 100 times before. The idea of adding graffiti to a painting where it once wasn't is nice, but adding my own is a really unique take on it, and the manner in which I do add it is unique, rather than just adding some spray paint splatters on top of on a computer mouse or something. I like to add a lot of value to that, so I'd have to find a really cool thing to deck out. I've been thinking about doing some more spray can art, as I've got a handful of empties now from last summer's painting and whatnot, so definitely some creative things that I can do with along those lines. But just the simple head to the store and put a throwy on something doesn't always strike me as the most entertaining. I don't know if you guys have a different opinion on that. Maybe you could leave a comment on what your thoughts on spray painting something, and at what point does it actually make it unique enough to be a cool project. Because I want, if I were to go through a project like that, I would want it to help also inspire you guys to be making or do a spin-off or whatnot, and have it be unique enough that you guys are now going to have a cool project or a cool idea that you can work with, and it's not something that takes 5 seconds to come up with. Not that fast ideas are bad either. I suppose I shouldn't write those off, as some good things come very quickly. But seeing as I don't get to make a lot of videos, I like to make sure that I'm at least putting together some really sound content from every angle. Like, the lowest form I like to stretch to are the fast speed arts of a couple throwies like I did the other week. Much less than that, I'm almost cheating you guys into what I'm offering. That E reminds me of like a, I don't know, Pokemon or something for some reason. It's got a lot of attitude on it. Model train graffiti. That's something I've done one in the past, and it was a lot of fun. I could definitely see myself getting into it again. I don't remember how much somebody sent me one in exchange for drawing on it and whatnot, and he was a good friend, old Southern Graph. But I wonder how much a model train goes for. I know some people just make tons of them and they come out pretty crazy. But I can only say I did just the one. It was good though. It was very small and definitely took my time on it. Made for a hard video because, I mean, maybe it was this big. So, you know, my hand's covering 90% of it the whole time. Don't spam the comments with your names. Oh god. How do I save that E? We're gonna start over. I wish I had scratch paper on me, but ironically enough, I don't have any at the house. Some of my favorite tags come on the back of postals just because they're so smooth. Dude, daddy. Check out this postal. Should I do a request on this one specifically? Would someone care to have this one done? I think these are from Japan. Let me do a quick Google search. I would definitely make a custom one on there. I only have one. I know I have some more somewhere else. Yeah, I think these are from Japan. The internet's telling me it's true, so. Alright, this one's gonna be a bonus. Alright, since this one's definitely, oh Jesus, slow down on the comments. This one, you're gonna have to do a trick. So what I'm gonna do for this one is, if you want your name requested on this, I'll do a throwy of sorts. And if you want your name requested on it, you're gonna have to do one of the super chats. But I'll also throw in a sticker pack as well. So first one to jump on that gets the Japanese label, and then anybody else that wants one, I can also oblige with a sticker pack and a custom throwy too, with your name request. So you can do the super chat down below. 'Cause I definitely don't have a bunch of these laying around, so we're gonna make that one a little special. If you want to do it, you can click the icon next to the emoji. Kind of looks like a $sign. Then if you throw $5 on there, I can do a custom pack for you, and then retrieve your shipping information to get that sent out. And hell, got plenty of other stickers that I made. I can definitely feature a bunch of these in that pack as well. So, Japanese one's up for grabs. In the meantime, I could work on this one. I probably should I use a pencil at all, or should I just go for it? So in order to do the super chat, you should be able to see down at the bottom $sign, and then you'll be able to input your info. After that, there'll be a little slider and whatnot. Let me make sure that this all works out. I set it up ahead of time and ran a test, so I was under the impression that it was working just fine. Oh, there we go. Christopher with a dot. Christopher, can we verify that you have you want a dot to be the word? Alright, a dot it is. Sweet. I was worried that it was going to be 10 letters long and I was going to have to do one in each little spot. Alright, let's see this throwing. Definitely going to sketch it ahead of time, as would not be courteous to royally screw this up. Now, also want to try to keep some of these in there. So I think I'll be able to save most of them if I do the T up that way, a round of an A. I do an uppercase A. Let's try that. Definitely might have to go a little smaller than that to fit all these in here. I haven't checked in on the music in a while. Sounds like it's still going. Yeah, streaming is one of those things. I feel now I understand why everybody wears big headphones. Well, needless to say, it's probably more for the video games, but you can't really play them out of your speakers while you're streaming, because then your voice comes out and whatnot, or it double echoes with the audio. So unfortunately, I don't get to listen to any music unless I have headphones in too. And this new computer I made doesn't have the best audio hub. The one in the front of the computer doesn't work anymore, and leaves me to one cord in the back, and I don't have an extension, so can't really even. I have to stretch in there to listen to any of the audio if I have to use headphones. So makes for a little bit of trouble. Also, Christopher, if you have a suggestion on colors that you want to use, be sure to let me know. I can work them in as you please. And I mean, feel free to leave your suggestions as far as color combos go as well in the description, or not in the description, in the comment section. ADOT's a pretty cool name. I think that the roundness on these works really well, but I'd be interested in a more of a piece setting to see how much I'd be able to turn it into a straight letter. Hope the contrast isn't killing you while you're watching this. Has anybody had a chance to use the new Cobra paint? I've been seeing a ton online, and all their Instagram videos are just going wild with how efficient it is at keeping paint on the wall and not dripping and all this stuff, but I haven't gotten a chance to try it. So it looks like it comes in this really nice matte finish, and then I believe they have both low and high pressure too. Alright, let's make this O a little interesting. Maybe I'll do that after I get the T in there. See how the T lies down before I get too crazy with. T's are an interesting one. I guess a fair bit of practice with some of their structure through my uppercase I. And they can definitely have a lot of flavor if you curl up the top or whatnot. I think I'm gonna use that kind of same idea to make this D a little more interesting. Maybe I should make it go down. Bottom can come up. Let's see how that works. I like to do a lot of my lettering like this. Get 90% of the letters down there, and then start adding hookups or style based on one of the letters or one of the strengths of one of the letters, and seeing how I can incorporate that into different areas of these letters. Because had I started with trying to make the foot of the A like this and then trying to model a T off of that, it might not have worked as well as having the T's influence on it, and it changes up where the pressure or the forces of the main letter are landing. Not too shabby. Oh, I like that you can send colored circles in here. It's pretty cool. Extension for Food Dog. I think just a little something's missing down here. Good, underline the E or the O. I think that'll do. Alright, well, with no color suggestions aside from blue, red, and purple, I think I could use them all. Then I'll go for paint markers on these. And is there any way to save some of the characters that are going to be covered up? There's not quite a happy way to do that. I guess if I use ink for the fill, I'll save it. So maybe I can do a light blue fill, and maybe use paint markers for the outside. I think that's a safe bet. Now, I ask this occasionally at the end of videos, but if you guys have any music suggestions, regardless of, if it's music I can use in videos or if it's copyrighted, but I always like to hear some suggestions, as I know I have quite a broad appreciation or style of music that I listen to. So I'm sure plenty of you guys have crazy stuff to do and listen to as well. So if you have any suggestions of even lower key artists that might not be super popular just yet, feel free to leave those down below, as I know a lot of people like listening to playlists or soundtracks or what have you while they draw. I'm a big proponent of podcasts and whatnot while I draw, but I definitely do enjoy listening or putting on a whole album while I draw, because it helps to set aside, a solid hour or hour and a half, depending on what you're listening to. So I'd always like to listen to Immortal Technique. I haven't listened to a ton of him in the past. I know of him. He had a free album maybe 5 years ago that he released that I downloaded, but aside from that, can't say that I'm too up on his work, but maybe now that's a good time to check it out. Because I know the last time I listened to him, it was solely because I had the free album, which is always an interesting way to release artistic content, seeing as most of my art is consumed online for free. But with music, it's a little bit different. I probably feel like that'd be quite a big marketing decision to try and release an entire project just free, although come to think of it, it might have been a EP or whatnot, a little bit less of a serious project, or less of a completed project. DJ Quads on SoundCloud. The gray almost looks like a nice kind of drop shadow on here. I think I'm probably going to use that maybe in the blue fill. Add some natural shading to it. Got basic outline there. Definitely use some kind of a funny tee at the end of the day. Alright, so not going to use Crayolas on this. Got some Blicks here. Pull out a light blue. Same color. Body sticker looks different though, so I'll stick with just one of them. I suppose maybe a blue. I wish I had my grays with me. I think I left them in Philly. So instead of gray, oh wait, we might have one. Antique white. Let's see if we can get this work. That'll work perfectly. So we'll start with that. Need to put up a light shade over here, so it's less harsh on the camera as it fades over. So I'm thinking I'm going to do fade from light blue into this off-white color. So it's called antique white, but more or less it's kind of this tan cream color. So I'm going to fade some light blue up into that, and then maybe do a slightly darker blue all the way at the bottom. And then maybe for the outline, we'll go after that purple. Probably pick a pretty light purple, and then do drop shadow. Or, I don't know what this style better suits. Drop shadow would work pretty well with this style. Maybe I'll go with that. But a vanishing point would also be nice. Vanishing point might take up a little bit more of the sticker area. But we shall see. I am currently drawing on a Japanese mailing label. I could not tell you what the characters say on this, but to my understanding, this is a pretty generic shipping label from Japan. I've actually traded for a huge pack of these in the past, so I might have 20 of these lying around somewhere, but I only have one in front of me, and who knows where that big pack is after all this time. Pretty good at hoarding unique art supplies and whatnot. Can't say that I've probably drawn on more 5 or 10 of these ever, and I traded for a big pack of them at one point. So now let's hit that light blue up. And see if it fades well. Always use the lighter color to fade. More often than not, that'll help to give you the results you need. Before I go too crazy, I'm going to see if it settles out a little. Sticker material is never the best at fading, especially with mid-grade markers. So this might be a little interesting. My 2 blues that are allegedly the same color seem to be very varying of blues. Yeah, using an ink marker on this is probably a good choice, seeing as you can still see the label under it, which is what makes this one mostly unique. Flicks do carry Sharpie a little bit, which makes them a little less than desirable. I tend to draw my outline last if I'm using them, but here it's a little bit harder, and sticker material generally carries graphite just as well, so there's never a perfect option. What that carrying does allow for is some pretty unique shading here. So you can see we kind of got a gray mid-tone there when we blend them together. I do have a very dark purple paint marker that I could seemingly use as that outline color. These markers I'm using right now are Dick Blick Studio markers. I know I rant about them as my go-to, but they're a nice cheap alternative to Prismas, or I wouldn't put them on the same pedestal as Copics and whatnot, but definitely a good alternative to Prismas or Twin Touch, anything at that $2 range per marker. They come in some nice big sets, and then probably have somewhere near 250 colors. Do some little swirl fades up at the bottom. Having a darker color down at the bottom also is nice to add a little bit more weight to the piece. Kind of forces the bottom to be darker, and then when you complement that with 3D or drop shadow of sorts, it also helps to have it sit heavy on the page. So I'm definitely feeling the drop shadow 3D. I'm going to stick with black on it, and then also definitely have to re-outline this. So my mode of attack is mostly fill in the parts of the 3D that are totally black to start. If you have a bigger Sharpie, it's normally an opportunity to use that over the skinny one. For a drop shadow goes, up and to the right almost sounds like the best option. So I'm going to pick this area of the T because it's a easy contour to grab and kind of help set up my eye for the rest of the piece. And I can fill this spot in because that'll totally be covered. You can follow with the D. The O is not going to have much, but there'll be a little bit. Inside A. Not sure what that means. There definitely needs to be some inside of the A. Got a bigger Sharpie here to speed this up a little bit. Well, thank you for the suggestion, Holden. think some silver accents too would work pretty well on this. The blue has almost turned the tan kind of cream color into more of a yellow. A little hard to see on the camera. One downside to webcams is the contrast on something so poorly lit as this drawing. It's not so great. Kind of wash out with hot spots and whatnot. But then again, that could be my lighting. Could try some new stuff later. Cool. So let's do that purple. This is going to be really dark. Light purple it is. Not too shabby. And I think we're gonna rock some white highlights on this. I have hopefully my skin white. Hopefully these white accents will help. Brighten up the throwy a little bit. I guess this really isn't even a throwy anymore. Right now I'm using a Montana acrylic. These come in some really skinny sizes. And I use them most famously for outlines and then highlights like this. Definitely seem to help liven this piece up a little. Speaking of, I actually have a dark purple one that I don't use so often. These are the Montana acrylics. Skinny plastic body, really skinny nib. I think the nib's 1 or 2 millimeters. Wonder if we're ever going to need smaller paint markers. I could see maybe What do microns get down to? 0.1 millimeters? I wonder if the paint would be able to flow at that rate. Probably not, because even these have a hard time. If you're not on like a hard surface that has a lot of friction to pull the ink out of the top, or you don't have a surface that you can press down pretty hard on. The white in particular has a little bit more trouble flowing, just because I think it is a little bit thicker to get that opacity. Purple's pretty much good on anything. Black is the same way. Yeah, see there, it kind of stopped working for a sec. Well, thank you for the nice compliments. Could use some more white details, I think. Wish I almost had a yellow color like the top half to add details in that, but all my yellows are super thick. I don't know if anybody else has this real problem, but after I juice markers, I'm really good at rolling other markers on top of that like glob of paint. So now I've got the body of one marker covered in paint from another, and then now that gets quickly all over your hands. Cool. Well, I don't want to overdo this one, so I think that's probably about it. I shall sign it with the purple. See how it works. I love you, but do not speak your language well. I'm sorry, Ali Top. I wish I was fluent enough to speak any other languages, but I did not pay attention to foreign language too heavily in school. Maybe we can get some active translators for you. One more thing. I wanted to add those shadows a little bit. Where was that darker blue? So just in sections like this, where the letters overlap, adding a little shadow of that sort kind of adds a layer of depth that is in one way contradictory to the drop shadow 3D I added, seeing as it's not, you know, consistent with that. But most of Graffiti breaks rules, so this is no exception. It just is another cool way to add some depth. Let's make sure, get a better look at that. I'm very satisfied with how that came out. I think that's a good use of the Japanese postal, still keeping some of the characters visible. Then, needless to say, it's a different style sticker to begin with. So, A-Dot, I hope you enjoy this, and I'll get this sent out. I'll probably even get it sent out tomorrow. I've got some other stuff I'm mailing out, so I'll pack up some stickers for you and have them sent along your way. It's just, well, we got the free space on the back. Hit up some tags. Cool, well that's all for this guy. Anyone just joining in, this most recent sticker was actually a donation in exchange for a sticker pack and whatnot from A-Dot. I'm not sure that I'll be doing another full request like this. I can do some quick tag requests, as that's a little bit faster paced, but if you would like to donate, I'll maybe do one other longer form sticker and put together a pack for you as well. So you got to do one of the super comments for $5 and you'll get a full pack of my own stickers as well as some printouts. I've got a bunch of new printouts I made the other day. I'll run through some tag requests while we wait, see if anybody wants to do that, and if not, we'll just do some more tags and whatnot. Those are nice and fun, and get me to practice some other letters nonetheless. Key jam. I'll do try that first. Definitely need practice on my K.
Does the past really tell us something? If the present's important, was the last second nothing? I don't get it.
Going very hard on these.
I won't stress my fate until the tomahawks are aimed this way. And to be honest, I would still probably live the same. Not really giving a fuck about much. Getting buzzed before lunch, making new beats to bump, staying forever bent. Watching the streets through the tin. I pull the wool over my own eyes and squint.
More or less.
Don't want to live the fast life and just roll with the punches. Integrated all together, can't separate the suffering. Nothing built you up more than the happiness surrounding you. Checking over your shoulder at demons always back of you. It never fails, I find peace in where it shouldn't be. Begging for a shot while my head's stuck on the guillotine. I'm trying to verify what's worth the life that I try so hard and to strive without swallowing pride. Safeguard my passions, cause it's the only thing left to push the strain and the pressure out of my consciousness. I press on with the strength, defiance and confidence. Cultivate my dollars and dimes, it's common sense. So
now we're on to lens.
Wisdom and intellect, some small things we possess. Combined intelligence, live life with no regrets, no doubts till nothing's left. All my self-inflicted threats are just my way to find bliss.
Could have maybe used some warm-up or not gone right into a freestyle of that L. This is a little messy.
To the face, to the head, to the gut, to the bugging. I lost my footing somewhere in time. I can't remember when simple steps became an obvious dilemma. And common tasks become bothersome, impossible. The more you push it off, the more shit you don't want to do. Another empty smash into the curb, another cigarette,
Oh well, look at that, I forgot the N. So I guess we're doing less.
While the heavy thinkers are struck with immobility and ultimately mystery. Yo, this is me talking.
It's a letter that I am not very good at. Maybe a P, something I haven't drawn in a while. Seeing as I misspelled it already. Quick drop shadow 3D. This marker 2 is the Smell-O-Vision Crayola. I think it's supposed to be chocolate for black. I don't know why. You think it would be black licorice or something, but definitely does not smell like that. Alright, now we can do lens, seeing as I screwed that one up. It was supposed to be it. L's are tough because they're a rather simple letter. God damn it, I did it again. Why do I have the need to do ES? It's like I have a lisp when I'm thinking about the word. There we are. Third time's the charm. Alright, I've seen Grave a few times. I think this will be the last guy here. Change up the colors. Maybe a teal. Oh! With that, we're going to be sticking around for Matt Diaz. We have Mexcellence. Throw up. Well, I'll do Grave, and then we got that one to go after. Well, thank you for the donation, Matt Diaz. I will have to get a little bit creative with that X. Can't remember the last time I've done an X throw up. Grave. Question mark. Cool. Definitely gonna need some extra space here. Oh boy, we've got Sacros. All right, so the offers for throwies, not wild styles. Thank you, Vince. Feel free to leave your color suggestions and whatnot in the comments as well, and we'll do that. So I'm feeling something along the lines of a yellow. If Matt Diaz does not have a color suggestion, I will go after a yellow. Totally up to you. Good conversation question is, when are SIVE shells coming back? So SIVE shells are a tough one for me to keep in stock, just because they're, you know, imported, and keeping that huge branch up has been a little troublesome, as red and yellow, perfect. As it's pretty time consuming to get that reinstalled, or I guess as a staple for me, but I'm interested in doing it. It's one of those that I enjoy doing, and it's a good way to get some quality blanks to everybody else. I don't have a definitive answer. It's pretty expensive to get a restock going, so I'm hopefully can get in the works of that over the summer, but we'll see. I almost want to do like a more of a straight letter style than this. Cindy Long, thank you for your contribution. I will get to it as soon as I'm done these other two. So SIVE shells are nice though. The blue tops especially were nice and big. So if I were to bring them back, it would be definitely some busy work for myself, but needless to say, well rewarded from you know, helping everybody else out with that. So I'll hopefully now have some extra pressure from you to get them back involved on my site, because as you can see, I'm drawing on Polsters now, so the shortage is more than real for my stuff too. I have a slight hoard of them tucked away, but definitely saving those for special occasions. Because half my pressure was, you know, do I just release the same blanks and do a pure restock, or do I try and spice it up and design, you know, 10 new blanks and do all that? Just because, you know, easy way out is redoing all the things I've done well, but that's not, you know, the best business model to try and keep everybody interested in all. A lot of L's tonight. On to hopefully not in the respect of losses, but hopefully a lot of letter L's tonight. I'm gonna need a 4th sticker here. This is gonna be as long as that first sticker I made tonight. NCE. What's the best way to choose a tag name? Honestly, go after some letters that are both going to challenge you and letters that, you know, you like how other people have styled them, because, you know, the bigger names that have worked with those letters hopefully pretty regularly know how to use them and utilize them really well. So you know, showing what can be done with a letter can inspire you to understand how to use them yourself, but more or less, you know, how to construct a name that would also be beneficial to include. Because I mean, needless to say, with letters there are styles that and letter combinations that complement one another, regardless of your specific, you know, style of lettering and whatnot. So. I'm not sure how I'm going to incorporate the red into this fill. I could just do details with it. I could do some fading with it. Could even do the outline with it. But I think details are a good spot, just because you got the red priority mail already there. So some red details would be supporting of what we already got going. What letter do I have the most trouble with? Tonight, L's have thrown me for a loop, so we'll run with that. I find, most people complain about some of the simpler letters because there's, less structure to, an L or a C, just because, it's pretty simple, and there's less to complement graffiti styles that are, more or less about making your piece extravagant or embellishing different pieces. So even like a letter X sometimes, or a Z, gets a little hard because they're very linear letters. So L's are definitely one of the harder ones, just because it's essentially two lines, but now you're adding a a mouth or a leg to the end of it, and then hoping that it doesn't round it too much and make it look like, you know, a C.
An experienced mental chemist could analyze a person's character, even if a stranger, and tell what discordant thought or vicious ideal is casting its fatal shadow upon his personality.
Working on the X now. So the struggle with A's are you have more or less two contours that you really need to focus on, and those contours, if you screw them up, make your A really wonky. So just as a verbal suggestion, because I won't have time to do a full how-to on the letter A, but really focus on the contours. You see with the X, I came across here, always kind of curving in on itself. Then this one's more or less straight, but with the M, you got the curve going in that direction. And so with an A, those contours are going to be extra important, just because they are what make the letter totally unique. So focus on, you know, how you're making those contours, and then what the caps on the end of those contours look like. Because I could have capped the top of this L down instead of doing it up and over, and that gives a totally different feel to how the letter looks.
No one can ever detect a tremor of complaint or a weakness anywhere in his nature, simply because he has so completely learned the science of right thinking that he can shut out of his mind or neutralize with its mental antidote anything which would cause him pain or injury.
I know it can also be a tough letter because you have that, you know, such a very defined symmetric shape to it that when you do start breaking away from that, you know, it gets tricky or illegible. So you can focus on trying to keep it very symmetric, and then you just have a big circle on your page, or, you know, how do you work around that to make it mildly symmetric, but also any hookup or any feature on top of it is already an embellishment, so how do you keep that kind of reserved and not go over the side of the ship with crazy hookups and whatnot that aren't actually there and can't actually be supported. Well, I'm glad I've inspired you, Kevin, to work on some stickers. I think that streams like this are going to be easy for you guys to draw along with or follow along with, just because there's enough, a little bit of visual entertainment. Clearly it's not as fast as a speed art where I can make it purely all the most entertaining portions of my drawing session, but hopefully the audio, both the music and my commentary, can help walk you through my creative process, as well as topics related to graffiti and whatnot. Wow, this E needs some work. I didn't realize I cut it in like that. And I definitely think the longer form content here is going to be really beneficial to the creative process and showing you kind of what I'm thinking about as I go through the longer thing. And I've definitely thought to include that into speed arts as well, as a little commentary about some of my creative decisions while going through the process, because right now it looks just like a blissful creation of the end product with a goal in mind, but showing those steps along the way are also important to share with you, and you guys can definitely learn from the creative choices other artists make. So I like the idea of some purple in here. This one's really dark though. Got a light purple. Yeah, that'll be nice. Yeah, I think that purple's a cool accent to it. And I think this piece would benefit from some cracks added to it. And some highlights, of course. So let's break this bad boy up a little. Cracks are one of those that I rarely, well, I guess that's not totally true. I was going to say I rarely go into a piece wanting to use, and more or less it comes to a point where I'm finishing up a piece and it needs something extra without going totally overboard on adding a bunch of hookups or changing the style entirely. And I've salvaged so many pieces that I screwed up more or less, and the piece looks like crap, or the structures needs too much work to really save, but I don't want to totally scrap the drawing, so I practice on saving it with the manner of drawing a bunch of black lines through it. And there's really, my thought process on making cracks are, a crack forms by naturally drawing along or naturally breaking along a fault of sorts. So kind of just drawing a straight line and then moving it with the paper just kind of freely gets you a basis down, and then you can do the 10 little things to make the crack look a little bit more traditional to everything. Going from an area that has high concentration like this part of the V, kind of spreading it out to the extremes. Tends to work pretty well and look a little realistic. And also, going through the large sections and breaking those up helps the eye to not have this massive yellow section up there. Now it's got kind of 3 smaller sections that work well. I think that helped it quite a bit. Let's do that silver. That would look good. There we go. Excellence. Thank you again for your donation, Matt. On to Vince. Oh, let's give you a better look at that before I totally take it away. So Vince wanted Sacros. Now, I didn't say I was doing a wild style necessarily, but I could do a freestyle in probably the same amount of time and make it look pretty good, so I'll oblige to that. Sacros. Three stickers required. Oh, music's gone. My apologies. Thanks for commenting so I could catch that. Looks like I played through, I don't think I could have played through that whole playlist. Maybe I did. Hopefully it's back. Thank you for the congratulations on the 69,000 subs. Saccharos is a pretty cool name because you've got the roundness of the C and the O that kind of complement each other in some symmetry. Which would be cool if this was my name. For now, I just get to enjoy it temporarily. Been wanting to do a scribble fill for a little while. I think this sherbet works well for that. Oh, did Saccharos? Okay. I was worried he suggested a color. I don't see any here, so I'm safe. Cool. Gotta find my Sharpie in all this mess. And before I continue with the outline, I'm going to try and come up with my fill. That's that dead brown from earlier. Some drop shadow on top of the other letters will look cool. And then maybe some mint green. Complement this nicely. I think so. And then I'm gonna want a big 3D on this. Thinner letters, a bigger 3D will add some more contrast onto the page. And the lighter fill as well. Could use that help. And I think maybe some silver in here too for highlights. Make a pretty dope piece. Now we just rinse, wash, and repeat for all the rest of the letters. So that contour on the A I was talking about earlier is kind of this deal. So you have the two contours kind of come in on one another, and that helps to kind of round out the A and keep it uniform. As you know, a real A has two straight lines, but not necessarily achievable when you have these curves in here. I really appreciate the practice on all these different letters. A lot of variety of names tonight. Made it interesting. Well, I hope I've been able to learn it quite a bit. Getting out of the normal 4 letters I like to draw. are. Sacros. Alright, and last but not least is Genie. It's a little throwy that is blue and brown. Let's start with a light peach. Has my brown. Sorry, I was off camera. Everybody's getting 3 stickers tonight. Stretching them out. I think I'm gonna do like a dark blue outline in 3D, and then maybe some lighter blue accents. See how that looks. I think that'll look cool. This peach is covering really well. Yeah, it seems to have 2 perfectly clear coats. You got a nice solid peach on there. Light peach from Blick Studio. Highly recommend for your priority mouse. dragging a little bit of this blue. Shall be careful. Shout out to Bug Scum. Now to some light blue. Gonna hide in a little bit of a darker brown fade from the bottom here. Very subtle. And then some small, very dark browns, and that'll do. Big Genie. Wish I had left myself some room to taper those off a little more. Cool. Well, I think that'll do it for the stream tonight. I'll do a quick little run through of all the stickers I made, and thank you to the 4 guys that supported and threw me the $5 to do some custom stickers. I'll be emailing you and grabbing your shipping information so I can send out the packs shortly. I hope you enjoyed the stickers I made for you, and I'll be sure to throw in some of the stickers I made throughout tonight's video as well. So we got sack rows there. These all 3 of these are the custom pack order ones. Menace, that was Mexcellence, Crack. And we got A-Dot on the Japanese. Big ups to being the first supporter. We got Psych, which more or less just looks like a SIVE tag. Stuff on the back of that guy. Ape, West. Got a little rippling SIVE throwy. Big Sonic. Might be able to use some darker colors in there to break up that E. Simple brown throw up. Brown tag with the dying brown. Green cursive. Got a nice S on that guy. Original sticker I did tonight. The blue seemed to set in better over time. The blue looked kind of crummy to start, but seems to have picked a good color. Grave tag. Lens. Lesp after I redrew it 3 times. This Lesh key. And I believe that is it. I've got some other stickers I made the other day. I'll show those off as well, seeing as they won't get a full video feature. Tag. I actually think that was in this one. Shitty glitch. Highlighter. That was actually from 2015. Found that in a box. Reverse. Did this one all mirrored, so definitely a little sloppy, but just a fun practice. Cool. Well, thank you for checking out the stream tonight. Solid almost 3 hours now. I gotta get to bed. Thank you again to the supporters, and feel free to jump on the next stream. Maybe I'll be doing some more reviews. Not reviews, more features and more requests. Thank you for everything, and I suppose, Yeti, I've seen your name enough. I'll throw you a quick tag to close it out as the last guy. Alright, Chromie, I'm tired. See you guys later. Thanks for support.